So in this lesson, we're going to be looking at defense against ego in your face and against the headbutt because they're both they're both common and they're both as well kind of related. Which means when the person's in your face, the first thing I tell people what you want to be careful for is that headbutt. Now, headbutt is a very effective strike. I've seen people get knocked out like this. So first, how do you headbutt? What you do is you use top of the head and you're hitting the facial area, okay? You're hitting anywhere around here, okay? Now you could headbutt here, I can headbutt coming up, I can headbutt to the side. Now, a lot of systems teach trapping the head and then headbutting. I'm totally against that because what happens when you grab the guy's head, number one, his first reaction is going to be to flinch. So if I do this and I go headbutt and he flinches down, boom, I'm going to get the headbutt or we can go head to head. So you don't need to grab the back of the neck to headbutt the guy. Now, if we're clinched and we're here, yes, I can headbutt up, I can headbutt coming up, I can, in this case, yes, because I'm already in a clinch position, I can throw a headbutt. But if I'm here to here and I'm face to him and I'm talking to him, all it is me going with the top of the head in the facial area. Kind of look at it like same movement as sneezing. That's all it is, right? I'm doing this. That little quick snap could do a lot of damage. Like I said, I've seen guys get knocked out. However, how do you avoid getting headbutt? Okay, so let's look at the ego in your face, and you see this very common where the guy is doing this stuff and he's in your face. The last thing you want to do is keep your hands down and get him in this range. If he wants to headbutt me from here, there's nothing that I can do. Generally speaking, it's easier for me to headbutt Costa than Costa headbutt me. The shorter guy, right? If I was much taller, it's harder for me to headbutt because I got to come down. And if he just flinches and he moves, I get the headbutt. So a lot of times it works against someone who is taller. The other thing is you want to bring up your hands, right? We looked at this guy's in level 1. Bring up your hands. If here or here, if he's coming in my face, I want to bring up my hands because I want to make sure that I don't let him in, right? If I let him in too close, right here, he could headbutt me, okay? So like we looked at the passive stance, hands are underneath the chin. My hands are exposed, they're out here, and a very simple cue on how close your hand should be or how far is headbutt me, Costa? Can. So this is the rule of thumb, right? I always say, can I headbutt me? So put your hands up, Costa. If I'm here, I can't headbutt it, right? So keep it up over here. So if I do this, oof, right, that could have came in, right? So my hands are here, and if you never let the person get close, right? In reality, if I'm doing this and I'm talking to him, boom, you could double palm strike or palm strike him and knock him out as quickly as possible, right? Especially if the guy's trying to move in. So when you're looking at ego in the face, Costa, kind of use your weight, and Costa's a big guy and he's doing this and he's talking to me and he's trying to move around me and he's trying to use his weight. The last thing I want to do is push him back. Forward, guys, come in. I'm doing this, I'm pivoting. Right, if he's don't headbutt just like your ego in my face, like you're talking to me, you know what I mean? So I'm just using my pivot to move around and make sure. So I don't want to push him back. This is when I use my pivot and I control the person. By me pivoting, just walk towards me. By me pivoting, boom, I'm open right here to strike him. Okay, again, we looked at that in the other level, how to just pivot. One simple move and I'm positioning. So ego in your face, you want to keep your hands up. You're looking at his hands. The first thing you should ask yourself, does he have a weapon? Right? Keep your distance. I keep my hands up, and at any point I decide to strike, look where my hands are. I can strike the throat. I could come up with a double palm strike, right? I could come up with an elbow. But generally speaking, if my hands are here, closest weapon, closest target, economy of motion, what's the quickest way to strike? Aim big, hit big, boom, double palm strike, I knock him out. Okay? So, like I said, when the guy's in your face and there's a lot of ego, and you see this with big guys, don't push force against force. Draw him in. So walk towards me. So draw him in. Just pivot. Right? So if he's talking to me, I'm here. At any point, boom, I can strike him. There's nothing that he could do. Hand is quicker than the eye in this range. Okay? So that's how you deal with ego in the face. If the person's challenging you to fight, you're telling me, come on, let's fight. My hands are just gonna come up. I'm not gonna get into a stance. I'll draw him in. So if I'm like, look, man, I don't want to fight. I'm sure we could talk about it. He starts coming in my face. Boom! I strike him as he's stepping in. Okay? So that ego in your face and that challenging to fight, it's psychologically it's very much the same. The person's trying to intimidate you. He's trying to lower. He's trying to get in your face. He's trying to scare you. He's trying to beat you mentally before the fight started. Okay? So you got to stay calm. You got to look at his hands. You got to keep verbal going. You got to keep moving, and you got to find that opportunity to strike. Now, defense against a headbutt. Like I said, if I'm here, right, my hands are up here. If he tries to headbutt me, I'm just here. I don't allow the person, go headbutt, try to headbutt. I don't allow him to get closer than this. By me keeping my hands up, if he tries to headbutt at any point, he's gonna have to hit my hands. Okay? If I'm here and I'm doing this, and you see this very common, we're like, yeah, man, what's your problem? Boom, one headbutt, there's nothing that you could do. So again, we go back. We always refer to level 1, which is what? Bring your hands up. Right there. Bring them up. Right? So the person. So I'm gonna give you some weight cost to pivot. I want you to pivot. Just pivot. Just pivot. One pivot on the foot. Pivot on that back foot. That's it. Pivot on the back foot. Right? Where you don't allow the person to get around you. If you see him going to reach something, so if I'm talking to him here and he goes to reach something, boom, oh, sorry, you're going to like reach for a weapon, I have to strike immediately. Now I'm telling you guys this right away because we are going to look at knife defense, but it's important and crucial that when you're faced with an attacker, you're looking at the hands. The instant I see him reach something, go for his pocket, if I can't see his hands, you could only assume he has a knife. And I want you to integrate this immediately, that when you're faced with an attacker, whether it's ego in your face, whether he's mouthing off, whether he's pushing or he's shoving, you're looking at his hands to make sure he doesn't have a weapon and he can't surprise you with anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. I'll see you next week.